am I in focus, focus. And I kept lining myself up with, I'm gonna be honest, with older people. We won't say how old, but like older, like graying and like kind of, you know, aged. Because I was just like, if they can do it, you can do it. Like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Anna. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm hoping that noise stops because I'm filming with my window open. Please. Okay, so if you watched my what I eat in a day, my last video, I'll have it carded somewhere here, then you know that I wanted to do a reflection video on my race, how I ran, the experience in itself. So if this is something that you're interested in, then please keep watching. Okay, so I signed up for this half marathon, which is 13.1 miles, back in April, and from there I essentially started from the ground up. I could run a mile, sort of. It was a little uncomfortable to run 2, so that's kind of where my baseline was, just so you have some reference. And I slowly built up and followed the Hal Higdon schedule. I have a blog post linked down below on how I trained for this half marathon. If you want to click it, then just open up the down bar, and that's what I followed in order to run this race. And my last long run was 10 miles, and that was the week before, so the Sunday prior. And I will say that from that run, I felt comfortable being, you know, getting to race day. However, I did hurt my knee. I had some IT band issues because I was using shoes that were overused. They just needed to be done. However, I had bought these new shoes probably like 2 months prior to the race in order to wear them in, but they hurt. I'm just gonna be real, they hurt my feet. They were too tight and they just weren't the right pair for me to go run in, and so I stopped using them, and I kept using my old ones because they were just perfect and I couldn't find them in stores near me. So that was kind of my first mistake. And from that last run, for about 2 to 3 days after, my knee was just in so much pain that I was completely terrified I wasn't going to be able to run my race. The pain kind of subsided closer to race day, so I felt comfortable, and I wore a band around my knee, a copper fit band, and I was kind of ready to go. So I carb loaded the 2 days prior. I ate a whole bunch of carbs. It's basically what the majority of my diet was. I didn't really necessarily care about how healthy of a carb it was. I just was like, hey, I need a carb, get in me. So that's how I feel before my run. I went to bed, or tried to go to bed pretty early the day before, but you know, to expect yourself to actually sleep through the night pre-race is not really realistic. I woke up at 5:30, headed out, and yeah, race was at 8:38. I'm not gonna go over what I ate. You can watch my what I ate in a day video if you want to know everything that I ate to a T, but basically I had toast and banana and a goo, and that was my pre-run fuel. And I will say that this race started later than I normally ran, so my body was kind of ready to go at like 7, but I still had an hour wait, so it was like really amped up, and I just really wanted to get started, to be honest. So the first thing that I did was line up along the 10-minute mile marker. That's what you'll see on race day if you're doing a half marathon or marathon yourself, and those markers are kind of like where people who run that pace obviously will line up, and that's kind of your marker throughout the race, like to gauge where you're at while you're going along. Of course, each mile has its own timer along with it, at least my race did, so I was able to kind of pinpoint where I was from that standpoint, but it was nice to just, you know, line up with people that I felt like I could run with. So I made the mistake of not peeing before. I'd peed like maybe 20 minutes before, but like I had to pee again. I just thought it was nerves, so I'm here like, no, it's gonna go away. It did not go away. It kept going, like it kept building, and I was like, I'm gonna have to pee myself in this race because I thought there were pit stops. There were no pits. Really, Trey? There were no pit stops on this during this run. I got a porta potty by like the grace of God, because we went through a park which already had porta potties, and like everyone was just diving from the race to this porta potty because they also had to use the bathroom. Which, you know, there really should be bathrooms along the way. Like, you're drinking so much and you're doing so much, it's bound to happen, especially if this is your first run. So yeah, so I had to pee. But my other mistake while running was that I was speeding. Like, I was zooming through the first 2 to 3 miles. I was running about an average of 9 minutes and 30 seconds per mile, and I had my phone, like, Map My Run going, so it was telling me the mile pace I was at every time I passed the mile marker, and I was zooming. My normal pace is about 10 minutes 30, 10 minutes 40 for a long distance run, and I was going like 9 minutes, like I cut a whole minute off. So I thought it was kind of pre-run adrenaline just making me go, but I soon felt the pace I was going at, like within the 4 to 5 mile marker, and I was terrified because I was starting to feel really worn down. So at that point I ate a goo. I ate like maybe a fourth of a goo, which is like a little energy fuel for your run, and it quickly just gets digested into your body. So I had some of that. However, I started to feel sick from it within 2 miles. So by mile 7, I felt so sick to my stomach. I thought I was gonna faint or barf or something. On top of all of this, I did not mention the fact that it was like incredibly humid. Like, you could feel the moisture in the air, and if you know anything about running or humidity and how it affects your body, essentially your sweat isn't going anywhere. It is not leaving your body and evaporating. No, your sweat is sticking to your skin, so you're sweating and sweating and your sweat has nowhere to go, and that's why it's really hard for you to work out in humidity. So that's what was happening during this race, and the sun kept coming in and out. And fun fact about me, it's not like a condition, but there's something with my heart where I overheat kind of quickly, and I have a tendency to faint in very hot conditions if I'm exposed to the sun for too long. So I was terrified that was gonna happen too while I'm running, and it was just humid and hot, and by mile 8 I hit this wall. It was like a mental, physical, everything you could imagine going wrong went wrong during like this 8 mile marker, and I was ready to quit. I was contemplating how I could call my mom, how I could get off of this path, because I was done. Like, I just didn't want to finish this race, and it was mainly because I had I had several goals. I had a time goal, I had kind of this like weird goal where it was like I don't want to walk throughout this entirety of this race. Like, I want to run it even if I have to slow down my pace. So I had done that, and I still felt like I needed to just stop, and I just got really down on myself about that. And I will say this, if this is your first half marathon, they tell you not to set a time goal for a reason. It's because typically you will not have ran like more than 13 miles before that race day. That's how most training plans go. They don't make you run more than 10 miles before the race, and that would be your first time running 13.1. So I, of course, I like to go above and beyond. I just like setting high goals because I just believe that even if I don't reach the moon, I'll have reached the stars, and that's pretty amazing in itself. And it is. But I set this time goal of 2 hours and 15 minutes because that's how just my pace seemed to work out, and I was pretty happy with that time. But I actually finished in 2 hours 30 and 44 seconds, so I will point out the fact that I did stop in the bathroom and that I did walk mile 8 and a few other times, because at mile 8, when I had gotten down on myself, I had to kind of stop, like tell my brain to stop and make a deal. And the deal was I would run to each mile marker or each like water station, and every time I came to one, I was allowed to walk for at least maybe like a minute or so and kind of recuperate and start off again. And that was kind of the deal I had with myself, so that way I felt like I could manage, because it's easy to tell yourself, oh, I'm just running another mile, I'm just running another mile, rather than going, I have to run 5 more miles. Like, it just felt more manageable, so I broke it up in that way. And I drank a Gatorade. That Gatorade was a game changer, okay? I had a little water bottle that I had slowly been chugging. I didn't want to overwater myself, I sound like a flower. I didn't want to drink too much water, but I also wanted to make sure I was getting hydrated because it was so hot and humid. And that Gatorade just made such a difference, and now I know that I really want something along the lines of an electrolyte fluid when I run my next one, because surprise, I'm gonna run another one, hopefully in April, but I'll get to that. The Gatorade really did help my just mental state, my body. Like, I just felt this immediate kind of replenishment within myself. And yeah, I said from there on I would just try to drink the Gatorade, no more goo, because the goo was just not sitting in my stomach well. And like I said, I don't know if it was the heat, I don't know if it was the fact that it had caffeine, where most of mine don't. Most of the goos that I had been eating were just straight up sugar. So yeah, so from mile 8, I pushed myself, and even though I'd said I would walk at each mile marker, I felt so good from the Gatorade that I skipped the next water station, which was my other mistake that I made, because it actually wasn't going to come up for another like 2.5 miles, and I thought it was every mile. So when I hit mile 10, I was like, where's the water? I need water now. And then we hit mile 11, I was like, oh my god, like what if that was the last water station? I'm dead. I'm done for. Like, I really don't feel well. I feel kind of like nauseous and just like overheated and overworked, and my body was just coming to its final like little bit of grit it had. So luckily by like 11.5, almost to mile 12, there was a water station. I got my Gatorade, but because I had waited so long, my body was like, drink, drink, drink. So I had about 3 cups of Gatorade, which was so bad because I overfilled my stomach. I drank too much, and I started to feel sick trying to run again after drinking all of that fluid. So needless to say, this was not a smooth run, and it's been 3 days. Today is Wednesday that I'm shooting this. So it's been about 3 days since my run, and I will say initially after the run I was really, really hard on myself because I just felt like I had let myself down in some way, and is because I hadn't met like my time goal, or I had stopped, or whatever the case was. But I will say that now I feel a lot better about it. This was my first time running 13.1 miles. This was my first time, you know, running a real race like this. It was humid. I had different shoes on that I normally don't wear. All these different little factors that actually make such a big difference in how you perform, you know, were kind of flipped on switch, I guess. So I'm at a place of peace, and it, you know, that last mile, so let me continue. So from mile 12 to the 13.1, I was just like, you will not walk, you will run this, because you have less than a mile left, like you can do this. And I kept lining myself up with, I'm gonna be honest, with older people, we won't say how old, but like older, like graying and like kind of, you know, aged, because I was just like, if they can do it, you can do it. Like, you're 22, you can do this. So I kept lining myself up with different older people every time I moved up a little bit. And then that last like maybe 200 meters of the race, there's lots of curving. So every time I rounded a bend, I thought that it was the end. So I would start getting ready to sprint, only to find that it wasn't the finish line, and you could just hear cheering. So you keep it was just a psychological mind game of just thinking that I was at the end when I wasn't. And then finally the end came, and I'm like looking for my mom and my friend Alex who was there to watch me, and I couldn't find them, and I was like, great, my mom's gonna miss me, finish the great, my mom's gonna miss me walking over the finish line, not walking, sprinting over the finish line, and you know, where is my people? And then I spotted them right near the finish line, and I crossed, and then I just laughed and cried for like a good like 2 minutes, because my body was just exhausted and my mind was just like so done. Because if you don't know anything about running, then you should know that it's very mentally taxing, as you can tell by my whole thought process of this whole race. So yeah, so that was kind of the race and how I felt about it, and yeah, like I said, I'm kind of at a place of peace now with my time and everything. My friend also did her first half marathon in Philly, and it was the same kind of weather conditions. She was a runner her whole, you know, college career, and she finished in 2 hours and 15. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Carly. But yeah, and that was my goal. So I mean, once I heard that, I was like, oh, like I don't feel so bad for myself now, because she's been a runner, you know, for quite some time, so she has that endurance ability and just that kind of training within her body, whereas I just kind of said I was going to run a race and ran it. I have done running in middle school, but yeah, I've not been a serious runner since like the 8th grade. So yeah, so all in all, I'm super proud of myself, and if this is your first time doing it, I hope that you're super proud of yourself and like everything. What is up with these trains? If this is your first half marathon, I hope that you are so proud of yourself and everything that you've accomplished doing this run, because it's such a big deal. You know, if anyone could do it, everyone would do it, and they don't. So, you know, be proud of yourself, be proud of how far you've come, and I know that for me, I want to sign up for another one in April. I hear it's better, like, weather-wise, and it just would be fun to have a goal again and to see it through, and yeah. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate if you would comment down below some video ideas that you would like me to put out. I'm up to doing anything really. I mean within my context of my channel, so anything vegan, kind of vegan lifestyle, wellness, spirituality. Shoot me a comment down below. Let me know what it is you want to see from me, and I will happily try my best to bring it into fruition via this camera. And yeah, I appreciate you so much for clicking on, and if you're not subscribed and like what you see here, then definitely press that red subscription button down below. It means I'm gonna pop into your feed whenever there's a new video out. If you like anything vegan, lifestyle, health, wellness, and that's just your jam, then you should definitely subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Thank you so much. Bye!